friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you this fun landscape style card that has a part of the front cut off of it that gives the stage for the thank you to just shine on this card. So I'm going to be using a stamp bundle from the annual catalog. It's called a Big Thank You. It comes with this great stamp set, lots of little embellishing type images in here with a lot of thanks and inside outside sentiments, which I love on cards, and it comes bundled with this really cool die that becomes kind of the star of the show, this thank you die. So we're going to be using our Stampin' trimmer today to make this fun cut here. We'll start out with a piece, half a piece of our basic black cardstock, and it'll be 4 1/4 by 11. Then we're going to use our Stampin' trimmer to make that simple cut on the front. Okay, so what we're going to do is put our Stampin' trimmer in view of the camera. We're going to make a 5 1/2 inch score line on the 11-inch side. So put your 11-inch side up against this raised part of your Stampin' trimmer and put the left side at 5 1/2, and then we're going to use the lighter scoring blade here, and we're just going to go down at 5 1/2. Okay, we're going to keep that in place right there because now we're going to make our cut. So this card was 4 1/4, and I wanted it a little bit more than a halfway cut on the front so that the thank you stood out really nice on the top part, but with not too much of the what you would call white space in the back, but it's actually petal pink space on this card. So what I did is I took 4 1/4 and I subtracted 2 3/4, which left me with 1 1/2. So don't worry about these measurements or anything that I'm using on the card. I am going to put it on my blog. So my little trick of putting a little bit of white behind here so I can see, I'm going to go to 1 1/2 on my trimmer. So I'll just take the pointed part of the dark cutting blade and keeping my finger up, because if I would have pushed it up, I would have potentially cut the paper. So I'm going to put it at 1 1/2 on this clear cutting guide here, ruler on the part that the arm that comes up. So we're at 1 1/2. We're going to drop it back down, and we're going to go up towards the top because we want to come down 1 1/4. So that means we start at 1 1/4 and go to the top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our card, because we have now this cut that's down here. Now we know the score line's at 5 1/2. So we're going to put the left side of the card at 2 1/2 on the left side of the cutting groove. So put your left side at 2 1/2. Then you're going to bring your scoring blade down to 5 1/2. Okay, so we're at 5 1/2 on the guide, and I'm lifting it up. I'm keeping it in place there. And then it's just going to actually, do I have it in the right place? 1 1/2, 2 1/2. Oh no, we are actually going to 1 1/2. Haha, we're going to 1 1/2. Sorry about that, kids. 1 1/2. Sometimes when you're going to make a card, you look and you think, always take a look first, because you're going to wonder where you're at. And I thought, I only saw part of it cut, so you're actually at 1 1/2. That's what I just had told you. We went down 1 1/2. So you're going to go to 1 1/2 inch mark on your left side, not the 2 1/2, the 1 1/2. Sorry about that, guys, but we caught our mistake there. So we're going to drop it down, and we know we're at 5 1/2, but now I think I might have jostled that a bit, so let me just double check. Oh, I did. I moved it a little bit. Okay, so now I move my paper. I need one extra set of hands. Do you think you could come over? So here we are, 5 1/2, and we're going to go up. And remember, we're at 1 1/2 on the left-hand side, and we're just going to cut towards the top of our trimmer, and we'll see that this piece pops out of there. So let's get that trimmer out of the way, even though he's one of my best friends there. Then we're just going to fold our card over at the score. So here now we have this 1 1/2 inch piece missing at the top, and that just gives us this bottom part, which is 2 3/4 now. So what I usually do is now I put my coordinating color on the inside, because then when I put my designer paper on the outside, I'll have guidelines of where to do it. So I'm just going to take some snail, and in this case, I am using a 4" by 5 1/4, a quarter part of a piece of cardstock, and trimmed off down to 4 1/4 by down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm just putting a nice 1/8 inch border around all 4 sides. And there we go, the inside. So petal pink on this card, because I'm using the Share What You Love paper. Oh, that beautiful paper stack with the heavyweight designer series paper and all the beautiful colors in it. So I pulled out of this card, I just love this petal pink in here. Just a little touch of it, and it's light enough that you're going to be able to stamp and see when you write inside your card. So we've put that petal pink on the inside, and you can now see where we're getting that pretty pink contrasting with the black. So now we're going to use the designer series paper, and this designer series paper is 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. And as always, I have if you go to my blog post on my blog, cindyleebedesigns.com, you're going to get all the measurements that I'm using here. So make sure that you don't put your flowers upside down, because they do have stems on them here. So what we're going to do is just line up on the left and the right hand side our designer paper, and we're going to just drop that right there. Already, doesn't that, so many different ideas come. The thank you is going to really pop out on this card, but just think of all the other things, putting a focal point of an oval or a circle here or a square. It's just a really neat card design. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and we are going to work with the thank you thinlet. So what I did here is when I put one of the thank yous on, it was a little, I don't want to say flimsy, but just, yeah, it was flimsy. So what we're going to do is double up on the thank you. So what I did is I want to show you a little trick, because I was going to put one thank you onto the other thank you. So what I did is I would do this. So I cut a piece big enough for my thank you, and then you just pull apart the writing side, and then this side here is sticky, so don't grab on your thumb because it is really sticky. And then I just apply it onto my cardstock. Then when you go to cut your thank you, if you can find your die, there it is. When you go to, you do not put it on this side that you just put the adhesive. You use it on the cardstock side, just as if you were big shotting a piece of cardstock. You're going to put that thank you on there, and you're going to run it through your big shot using your cutting sandwich, and you're going to end up with the die with the adhesive on the back. So then you're just going to pop the sentiment there, the nice die cut thank you, and then you'll see you can take apart the adhesive sheet. Where do you think would be the best place to do that? Let's just get that adhesive sheet off there. Okay, there you go. And then very carefully, because this is a delicate die cut, and then you just take off, being careful not to touch too much of the die cut, because it does have that adhesive on the back of it. But this was really, the first one I did, I used glue, and it worked sufficiently, but this really worked. Okay, so then I took my previously cut thank you in the basic black, and then I just place it right on top of the other one, and you've got a lot more sturdy piece of cardstock there. So then the next thing I did is I wanted to apply it onto this card, and I kind of used this piece of black that cuts the card in half, a little bit more than half, and I used that as kind of like my guideline, because I wanted the U to be the whole way on the designer paper and the thank up there. So then you're just going to take a little bit of your Tombow glue, and this one you're just going to put your glue squiggles on just the U part of the die cut. So you'll just be putting some little dots there. Okay, little dots of glue, and then we are going to line that up there. Like I said, I used that black line is the line for, and then just tap about the equal amount on each side, and you're just adhering the U. Just hold it down a little bit with the glue. Looks like I missed a little bit there on the little tail of the Y. I think it was because I didn't know how much room I had there, so I just put a little bit of glue on there. Okay, pop it back down there. And we've got that part done. Then I just wanted to do a simple little sentiment down here to fill up a little of this space here, but I didn't want it too big because the thank you is to be the key part of the card. So what I did is I took some petal pink and I put it in the background of the sentiment there. So open up, open completely, then slide. And then I took this cute little flower that kind of resembles the flowers on the designer paper. And then I just inked it up and I stamped it on a piece of Whisper White oval. And this oval comes from the Layering Ovals Framelits. 16 ovals and scallops in one set. And then I just use my Memento black. And then I'm just going to stamp that on that oval. And you can see the contrast of the black and pink with the black and pink also on the card. And then I just put some snail on the back of that and adhered it to the layering oval that's in the set that has the scallop around it. And then we can just use some Stampin' Dimensionals, pop them on there. This one I think I'm going to be a little generous. Normally I would put just 2 of them on each end, but I'm going to go ahead and put 3. So then we'll just take and put that sentiment down here in the lower right corner. Just something little there to offset the big thank you, because you really, on this card, the thank you really pops off the card because of the pink on the back and how big it is, and the fact that it's a little thicker. And this designer paper, it's busy, but it's smaller, so it doesn't take away from what you really want to show on this card. So this smaller sentiment down here as well, it's just a kind of it's like a little stagehand back here, but this guy's stealing the show here. So on the inside, I wanted to stamp something there. So I took this really cute You Are the Best that's in this stamp set, and I'm going to ink it up. I always ink upside down. I just feel like I have more control over my ink pad, especially with the foam ones that are a little bit juicier. So then we just go ahead and put You Are the Best down in the bottom. And when you're doing this, remember this card is going to close and cover that. So if you keep it down into the bottom right corner, you're going to be assured that you have enough space there. And now that I'm stamping this, I'm realizing that's why, one of the reasons why I made, and then I'm just going to stamp a little petal pink flower to kind of mimic the outside right here, and then your eye goes to there. I think that was one of the reasons why I increased the bottom part, not only to give a smaller part of open space for the thank to be on, but also so that I was assured that I was covering up the sentiment on the inside. So then I thought, okay, I need a little embellishment on there, so I pulled out the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls, and there's Tranquil Tide in here, in these flowers, and there's mint. So I just went ahead and popped a little pearl here. Oh, he's flying down the, boom. Use my handy dandy tool. And oh, on this card, I just realized that, see what I did here? This, I actually am not gonna put a pearl on there because on this card, it went right in the middle of the flower, but here I stamped a little bit over onto the flower, so I don't have room for that pearl. So I guess that card is not going to have a pearl. Oh wow, more pearls for the next card. So there you go, a really simple card. Did you see how fast that took? Except for my video probably took a lot longer, but you're just cutting off a top portion and it just gives a whole new look to a simple card. And the nice thing about this is you still have a lot of room to write over here. And if you do want to embellish or decorate this upper part, but I kind of like that it just pops off there. So take a second look at that thank you die. They're really cool. I'm going to show some other cards where I'm going to kind of cut the word apart and just use the U on it. So it's really a versatile thing, and it comes with this really cute stamp set. All these little flowers, and you can color, you know, two-step stamping with these flowers, and just some really nice sentiments. Friends are the flowers in the garden of life. So I want to thank you, friends, for stopping by to watch the video. If you have any questions, you can always email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com. You can go to my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com, if you have any questions about the materials and the measurements that I used on this card. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.